everybody. Todd and Raqui here. We're live today. We are going to be talking a little bit about the AGAPE love of God. And because it's Valentine's Day today, I decided to do this with Todd. And just following up on the lesson that I did earlier this week on becoming loved. So, Todd, we've been talking about the AGAPE love of God. You are reflecting.
I'm showing them the plastic flowers I got you for Valentine's Day. This is true love right here. True love is giving flowers that will never die.
Yes.
Because they've never been
together.
alive. Put together with plastic. That's true love, right? Is that AGAPE love?
No, but it's been fun. So we are. So we were talking about how Agape's love, God's AGAPE love, is sacrificial. And so let's talk about some of that. So
this was not much of a sacrifice,
no,
although
it wasn't a sacrifice.
We had to sacrifice a little bit of money to buy those.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Do you remember the very first time that you had to sacrifice? For me, and then I'll share first what I had to sacrifice when we got married.
Well, you gave the illustration of the driving a long distance.
Yes, but I had to remove that story because it was taking too long, and people don't want to be there past 15 minutes.
Well, maybe.
So
you know how you always tell me to keep it short?
Try to do that. I can. Yeah, it's different. So I guess. We can tell that story, or you can tell that story. So that's more of your sacrifice before we even got married. That's not me. But yes, go ahead and share the story before we even got engaged.
You want me to share that story?
You can share that story because you're the one who did the driving.
Well, I left Guatemala on February 14th, 1990. After meeting Raqui there, and didn't know I was going to meet her there. And actually, when I left on the airplane, I didn't think I'd ever see her again. But as fate would have it, and as the Lord led, we ended up contacting one another again. And at some point, after a few months of writing letters mostly, it was before cell phones, when the bills were really expensive. It was hundreds of dollars to call for 15 minutes. It seemed like, anyway. I ran up some big bills at first before I found that out. So anyway, that was my first sacrifice. Just talking with you was a very expensive ordeal.
I think you were sacrificing money. You couldn't go out to get your pizza every night.
I guess not. I wasn't having pizza every night. Yeah. Anyway.
Mac and cheese.
Whatever it was. And so as it turned out, though, her mom was found to have cancer and was going to the cancer unit in Bethany, or not, actually Oklahoma City, at Baptist Hospital. And I'm all the way up in Michigan, but I wanted to go see her as soon as possible. And just as it turned out, I had a week's vacation coming to me, and I said I'll take my week's vacation as soon as my duties are done. Well, the duty that I had to do was take kids all the way up to Mackinac Island, which is the very northernmost part of Michigan, for an overnight stay at the Grand Hotel there. And we had to take shifts and watch the kids to make sure they would stay in the rooms at night and not goof around and get in trouble or sneak into each other's rooms, things like that. So one of my shifts during the night was in the middle of the night, like from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, as well as having to get up at 7 a.m. and stuff like that. So I didn't sleep much during this whole event. There was hundreds of kids at the Grand Hotel.
I thought it was just your teens.
No. It was the whole district. It was a senior-junior event. I don't know if they still do it, but it's a big deal back then. It was a prom alternative, they called it.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were there, and I didn't get much rest. We had a good fun day going around in a very beautiful island there. But then I had to drive all the kids from that little island after we got off the ferry anyway, Traverse City, and then we drove all the way down to Lansing, Michigan, which is about a 3-hour drive and 3.5-hour drive. And so after that, the plan was to go to bed and sleep, and then go see Rocky the next
Yep.
day.
Which was a 14 and a half hour drive. So I wasn't expecting him till late at night. At first I thought it was 7 p.m., but apparently it was like late that night.
Well, as it turned out, it was just really hard for me to sleep because I wanted to see her very badly. I wanted to help support her through a difficult time. And it was just on my mind too much. So I couldn't, no matter how tired I really was just tossing and turning. And I said, well, if I'm going to stay awake, I might as well stay awake driving. So I jumped in the car with about a 12-pack of Mountain Dew. That's the truth. And started driving. And there were many times throughout the night, very long night, like when I got all the way to like St. Louis or whatever, and I was like really hitting the wall there and feeling really sleepy.
He really was getting tired.
Even after drinking all those Mountain Dews and stopping to get another big gulp.
Didn't you tell me like you were like jittery?
Yeah, I was jittery, but I was
You're
still,
not very comfortable.
I still felt sleepy. Like I was just like, stay awake. And so I stopped by the roadside at a
I can
gas
just
station.
imagine him going like
And-
this
and
in the
just-
car.
As they saw, I caught 20 winks or something like that, where I just let my eyes close and just rest for a little bit. But again, couldn't stay asleep and just jumped back on the road and kept going and drove all the way. Like I said, finished the 14 and a half hour drive after already driving a long distance from the northern part of Michigan. And now from Lansing to Oklahoma City. And I got out of my vehicle at the house that she gave me the address for and went knocking on the door in the front, and there was other missionaries that were staying in the house. It was the Zani family. And they answered the door and kind of surprised. It was, I think by then it was late evening.
I remember that I opened the door. Maybe I was on the other side of the door and you were there. And I was like, what are you doing here? And I had just run home to get something to go back to the hospital to spend the time with my mom. But I do remember I was so excited and I jumped and I hugged and I'm like, wait, what are you doing here? Just supposed to be here like tonight. And I'm on my way to the hospital. And then, yeah, you told me that you had stayed up. And I remember that he went to bed and I went ahead and went to the hospital for, I don't remember, maybe a couple hours at least. And then I came back. And I remember telling my mom and that Todd was already here and I told her the story. And she goes, wow, Raquelis, anybody can do that for you as a keeper.
She was always very encouraging of me, so I found out later.
Yes.
For some reason, she thought I was a good... I
He
don't know what to
thought you
say.
were a good gringo.
But I was a
What she
calming
said.
influence in her daughter's life because she said she needs somebody like you, as she was talking to me. And in saying you need somebody like me means somebody that would calm her, because I'm a calming and quiet and
And
unassuming person.
when I made him go.
She's a pusher and a runner. And
I am a runner. You gotta keep up with me.
Yeah.
At least I'm easier to keep up with now. Now
She's energetic.
low. I lost a lot of my energy like 10, 15 years ago. It went out the window with the teenagers.
Yeah, can you imagine she had more energy than now? Yeah.
I went out the window with the teenagers and all the kids that I worked with. But yeah, so I remember that was the first time that I realized, I think, how much love you had for me and all what you were willing to do. And I know that a lot of it was also the bills, because he spent over like $300 a month at that time, and that would have been what
About 900 a day.
600?
No, it's gotta be triple it.
I remember it was
You're
like
talking-
half his paycheck
The 90s as opposed to
less.
2026 now. It's 36
Yeah.
years ago.
On his telephone bills, and we realized that we needed to cut down because I remember one time when you called me in Guatemala, we were on the phone for like 2 hours.
Mhm.
2 hours, that's a lot of moolah.
Back then. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't have a calling plan. She
No,
informed me
we
that
didn't
would
have
help.
any. We didn't have any cell phones. That's true. He didn't have an international calling plan, So after he got his first bill, he got on the phone with them and got a plan, and it cut down on his bill like half. So I remember that.
But that's when I started writing almost daily to her. And as mail was delivered there, I discovered later she would get like a packet of letters from me at a time.
One time I got 3 of them at once.
Yeah, because I was writing almost every day, and then she'd only get a bunch of them at a time coming.
And sometimes they didn't even arrive. Like the reason that one day I got 3 is because one of them was like 3 or 4 weeks behind. But anyway,
then she had to figure out which one I sent first.
That's true.
And try and put them in order.
Well, I had to, so I had to look at el sello, ¿cómo se dice sello? The
stamp,
and look at
the cancellation.
When it went through, when it was sent out.
This is how I finish her sentences, by giving her the right words. It's another way I show I love her, because it's sacrificial. You have to work so hard to finish all of your sentences.
It is very
the right words.
It's like I think that what things that I feel like I kind of like sacrificed for, was my Spanish, because my tendency, or not my tendency, what I wanted to do at the beginning, before we got married, said I wanted to marry a guy that was learning the Spanish or was bilingual like me, even if it was English first and then Spanish. But that didn't happen. I mean, I was in love with a guy like that, but I wasn't supposed to marry him. So
but she also sacrificed because her ideal would have been a guy who could play guitar and serenade out the window, which she reminds me from time to time that I fall short because I never met that.
You were short by an inch.
She said that I did have blue eyes. That was a good thing. She wanted a blue-eyed guy.
I was measuring him based on Superman.
Although Superman did not play a guitar, as far as I know.
No, but the height, the blue eyes, the look.
I was never 6'4" like Superman.
I know. You were shorter.
More than an inch shorter.
More than an inch shorter. Yeah. So I did have my 20 points. That was my 20 points. So I sacrificed. So I remember I told you this.
So
the very beginning had 20.
To
and
lower
I
all those points.
Too. My sacrifice was lowering my 20 to 18.
Whoa.
That was really hard for me.
I got 18 out of 20? I didn't think I was that high.
It turns out that there's not very many people. I mean, I think that you could have learned Spanish before we got married, and learn. He can sing though, so maybe I'll give him like half a point for that.
But she wants me to sing songs. To her, like romantically.
Yes.
So I can't do it because it just makes me laugh when I start to get all serious.
Everybody else, he would sing to the children. I'm like, we're smart.
But I'd make up silly songs for them.
Well, you could have made a pretty song for me. Mm-hmm. One of these days we're gonna make it sing. In fact, I've been asking him to sing a song for me in every anniversary that we have, and I don't think that has happened yet.
You've asked me to sing a song for the anniversary.
I did for the first few years, and then I gave up. We can just ignore the dogs in the back. They're just
come here.
Kind of going crazy. This is Miko, or little guy. He wants attention. So,
I don't know if I should. Probably not.
That's fine. Is there anything else that we have learned over the years? I know there's a lot of times. I think that one of the things that I felt like as a married couple that we have sacrificed a lot has been stability. To me, that has been the hardest thing. As co-pastors, that is probably the biggest thing we have sacrificed with stability. And I think it's because my stability would have been closer to the island of Puerto Rico, and his stability would have been closer to Indiana. So we were trying to make it workable.
Giving up our family closeness. Yeah. That's part of it. And
at least we were able to spend 10 years. Well, 9 years so 11 years in Indiana, close to Todd's family. But we were never available to spend time near my family, because that would have put us in Puerto Rico. Although we tried once. I think that has been one of the things that we were sacrificing. I think the other the other thing that we have.
But that's our sacrificing for the Lord. You know,
right. But
that's our love for God. It says we're going to do without what we would prefer because we want to do what He wants us to do. And it is the best way always. It's always a blessing to do what the Lord wants us to do. But still, there's always in your heart, you always sometimes say, well, I wish I could be with my family. I wish I could be in Puerto Rico. I wish I could get paid 10 times as much. You know, things like that.
That too. You've been sacrificing a lot of going out to eat. We just don't go.
But then we get to have the blessing of being together in our home.
We don't, yeah.
There's salmon right now thawing out for our wonderful meal.
Okay. So we want to talk about how we sacrifice. I do. I sacrifice my seafood love of seafood for Todd because Todd doesn't like seafood the way I do. I love octopus and I want to kill octopus and he doesn't like that. I can get him to eat some of it, like the crab and the shrimp and
yeah, the ones that taste good, but not the rubbery ones.
But good thing I don't like oysters.
You know.
But so yeah.
The ones that have little suction cups on them, I don't like that.
It's better for your health because it cleans your innards.
What is that? The suction cups just grab a hold of the bad stuff and pull it out? Didn't know.
Yes, it cleans it. It does that all the way out. Do you want to share anything else that we have learned anything you want to share about, I don't know, love?
I'll just say this. I'll say something really quickly. I won't get the quote exactly right, but Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King Jr., but Martin Luther once said while he was teaching seminary students, this is a quote that's fairly famous to him, that love is the constant battle to outgive the other. And so the sacrifice then becomes who can give the most. That's who can sacrificially give more to the other person.
I do.
She does.
Because
I defeat her all the time. I give so much more than her. I mean, I make her wonderful things.
But you gotta
I make her breakfast. When was the last time you made me breakfast? Exactly.
I don't like it.
She doesn't get up. I make her coffee for her. How many times? No, she wouldn't make coffee. I don't like coffee. But how many times have you? Yeah. How about this? This is the one I just more recent. We just reminded again that I've given her a dozen roses a few times.
But you gave me.
This time, plastic ones. They won't go away.
I'm working on 4 more.
But one time, she looked at the dozen roses and said, "Red again." And I was like, most girls would be happy to get a dozen roses, but she keeps me working all the time. It's like, no, you gotta vary the color from time to time, Todd. Come on, get with it. You can do better.
I said different.
She's constantly training me.
I like different.
To outgive her.
I think it's because since you can't serenade me, you gotta.
So I have to pay the price.
Right.
Well, if I'd only known guitar lessons would have kept me out of having to spend all this money on roses.
That's true. You could spend the money on the guitar. Maybe it's the Latino romance in me. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only woman that would like to be serenaded. Well. This is all for today then. Thank you for joining us or watching the video. And I hope that you are learning more about God and His Word. And as we do continue on becoming a journey to wholeness, which is a real life journey to wholeness. And I hope that if you have any ideas, any questions, you can toss them out to me. Hope you can do that. And we will see you next time. In the meantime, continue to becoming. And hopefully for this weekend, you will be loved. Bye.
Bye.